Like, if you're a basketball fan, you grow up a fan, like, you love the Celtics. Well, maybe I guess you could hate them, but I think for myself, like, the Celtics is one of the premier organizations of the NBA. Like, you always grow up knowing what the Celtics are about.
Picture the Indiana Fever stepping under the golden lights of Boston's TD Garden, a place dripping with Celtics lore, yet it was filled with Indiana Fever fans. The opponent is the Connecticut Sun, the same squad that eye poked, body checked, and practically auditioned for a pro wrestling career against Caitlin Clark just weeks earlier. From the opening tip, every dribble crackled with unfinished business, and Clark was ready. She sliced up double teams, broke 3 separate WNBA records on national television, and personally outscores the Sun in the closing minutes. Then, with 60 seconds left and Indiana comfortably ahead, one explosive cut triggers a painful twinge in her right groin. The roar drops to a gasp as Clark limps to the bench, tears seeping through a towel that suddenly feels heavier than her entire stat line. In the span of a single night, the WNBA's brightest flame has burned hotter than ever and flickered dangerously low, leaving an entire league wondering whether it is ready or even willing to protect the superstar who has become its economic engine and cultural heartbeat.
We have watched Caitlin Clark get the ever-loving crap kicked out of her for, let me look it down here, looks like about 15 months now.
Just a couple of weeks ago in Indianapolis, the Suns arrived behaving less like basketball players and more like sparring partners in a back alley brawl. Late in the third quarter, guard JC Sheldon jabbed a careless hand straight into Clark's eye socket, sending the superstar blinking away tears, while officials chose indifference over whistleblowing. Moments later, during a dead ball no less, Marina Mabry barreled into Clark's ribs with the subtlety of a shoulder charge, knocking her halfway to the scorer's table.
Third quarter we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and JC Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Clark is okay.
Sheldon, that was Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabry comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
The referees responded with technical fouls, a slap on the wrist that felt more insulting than punitive, and ejected nobody, effectively stamping an official seal of approval on Connecticut's intimidation tactics.
Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabry, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And JC Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
Social media timelines erupted. The seed of animosity was planted deep, watered by every dirty play that Clark received. From that afternoon forward, the Sun owned the role of antagonist, and the stage for a revenge game was set as clearly as any rivalry in sports history. Now fast forward to the next matchup. People thought this next game was surely going to be a Connecticut Sun's home game. Instead, they found an ocean of red jerseys stretching beyond street vendors and subway entrances, a living river chanting INDIANA loud enough to drown out car horns. Inside TD Garden, ushers blinked in disbelief as the building's trademark emerald wash gave way to crimson. By the time the national anthem finished, 19,000 fans, an arena record for a WNBA game in Boston, had effectively filled the venue, rewriting home court advantage. Clark felt it in warm-ups. Every layup earned roars usually reserved for playoff daggers. Every half-court practice shot generated phone screens raised like lighters at a rock concert. The energy was propellant and cautionary tale combined, because the louder the cheers, the more defiant the Sun looked in their huddle, determined to prove June's muscle flex was no fluke. But Indiana was more than ready for their dirty little plays.
That's morning.
Boston day yesterday.
It's okay. You can tell me when I'm pouring.
That's fine. Here comes Clark. Working against Sheldon. Slices in.
Her, but deceptively, she is so quick and fast getting to the rim. Right here, gets up the floor with some force here. JC Sheldon doesn't even have the chance to react.
Connecticut opened with a carbon copy strategy. Trap Clark high, bump her on every curl, and hope the officiating crew again confused assault with hustle. What they hadn't anticipated was Indiana's version 2.0 offense, rebuilt during film sessions where every cheap shot was spliced into motivational footage. Clark refused to surrender the ball early, using hesitation dribbles to split traps before they formed, and forcing defenders to pivot their hips just a fraction late.
A back cut by Lacan.
Lacan, the rookie out of France, and didn't take long for Indiana to strike back.
That is after a
Career for Allie. Clark trying to turn the corner. Oh, goes behind her back to find Howard.
Really good interior passing and patience.
Mitchell and Cunningham stationed themselves at orbit level depth, opening up the court. Natasha Howard and Aaliyah Boston timed their slips perfectly, punishing any overhelp with layups that felt like haymakers to Connecticut's collective midsection. By halftime, Indiana had recorded 14 assists on 18 made buckets, proof that Indiana adapted and came in with a game plan. Aaliyah Boston was balling like she has all season. The announcer marveled that Boston, the player, not the zip code, had hijacked Boston to make it her city. Every Indiana possession doubled as a statement. You can try to bully us, but you can't outrun a hurricane once it finds its true wind speed. For the first 3 quarters, Clark's jumper misbehaved, clanking 6 of her first 7 attempts from deep, yet history doesn't grade on aesthetics. Early in the third, she whipped a wraparound dime through 2 defenders to Howard, and the arena crew paused only an instant before flashing the graphic fastest player in WNBA history to reach 450 assists, achieving the feat in just 53 games.
And Sheldon is going to keep the pressure on Clark. You see Tina Charles with the responsibility of guarding Aaliyah Boston. High hedge on the ball screen on Clark.
Inside perfectly.
One thing you know about Tina Charles, she has every shot in her arsenal.
Now Sheldon, the height disadvantage against Howard.
Yeah, good recognition.
Minutes later, Clark finally located her range, draining a logo distance triple that pushed her to 150 career three-pointers faster than any woman before her. Somewhere in that blur, she extended her streak of games with 5 or more assists to 40, an Iron Woman meets point god flex that analytics departments will worship for decades. Yet the real fireworks erupted in the final 5 minutes when Clark, smelling blood, outscored the entire Sun roster 9-8 while making it look easy. Each bucket landed like a perfect shot in harmony. The scoreboard read 83-72, and climbing, Connecticut's body language sagged and revenge felt complete until destiny demanded one final plot twist.
The referee situation in this league is unimaginable. It's an abomination. And because Kathy Engelbert, who just a few weeks ago came out and said the referee situation, the officiating is just fine. Well, we saw Caitlin Clark crash out last night over the refs. We've now seen, and we'll take a look, her brother called out the refs.
With 63 seconds on the clock, Indiana set up a simple flare action. Clark darted left, planted on her right foot, and zipped a no-look bounce pass that Kelsey Mitchell converted without hesitation. As the ball snapped through Nylon Clark's face, twisted. She clutched the inside of her thigh, staggered 2 steps, and signaled for a substitute before the bench even processed what had happened.
Brutal. That's all you can say, and the look on Caitlin Clark's face said it all after she clearly tweaked her groin in the Fever win over the Connecticut Sun in what has been an injury-riddled season for Clark. And whether it was pain or frustration or a combination of both, you could see it weighing on her.
And then, of course, we all saw her last night. She ran over, I don't even know if it's in this clip, where she ran over and put her head against the padding under the basket. And then, of course, right here. That's the star. That's the savior of the WNBA right there, with a towel over her head that has been used and abused in this league.
Cameras zoomed in on eyes welling with tears. A towel draped over her head, failing to muffle sobs that stabbed through the suddenly silent arena. Doctors call groin strains ninja injuries because they ambush athletes, heal at glacial speed, and delight in reruns if not granted full recovery time. Clark had already skipped portions of practice earlier in the month, nursing the same spot, but this episode looked worse. No adrenaline-hidden limp, no heroic wave-off to trainers, only raw anguish.
Kathy Engelbert and the WNBA Well, they have effed around, and now they're about to find out. The WNBA All-Star Game is, of course, in Indianapolis, the home of the Indiana Fever, the home of Caitlin Clark. And now it looks like Caitlin Clark, most likely, I can't imagine that Caitlin Clark will be participating in the three-point contest or the All-Star Game.
All-Star Weekend sat 48 hours away in her home state of Indiana, an event she was scheduled to headline as team captain and first-time three-point contest entrant. Twitter pivoted from congratulatory memes to prayer hand emojis within minutes, while armchair orthopedists predicted anywhere from 1 week to 1 month of rehab. A night meant to crown God mode greatness threatened to unravel into a cautionary tale about the cost of unchecked physical targeting.
$270 million a year for a new media rights deal, and we are watching. The only reason that anybody else is watching, we are watching Caitlin Clark get destroyed on the court physically. Can you not control your league? Question mark.
Last year, Clark's rookie campaign had already offered a preview of the punishment awaiting phenoms who threatened to shift paradigms. Opposing veterans tugged her jersey when officials looked away, delivered borderline screens with elbows pointed, and tested the rookie's composure at every dead ball. Most of it fell within the unwritten code of welcome to the pros. But 2025 escalated from hazing to hunting. Defenses hedged screens shoulders high, hip checked her off rebounds, and disguised forearm shivers as hand fights for position. Each time referees swallowed whistles, it green-lit the next level of aggression and soon highlight reels featuring as many collisions as crossovers. Analysts stated she is getting targeted and coined the phrase Caitlin tax to describe the additional bruises she paid simply for generating record ticket sales. Yet league statements remained entrenched in historical foul rate comparisons, as though context were a trivial footnote. The groin strain felt less like bad luck and more like an overdue invoice on a reckless credit line of physicality the league had failed to police.
The league is about to F around and find out. The officiating's terrible. These players just beat the crap out of... Honestly, it's not just Caitlin Clark. I watched them beat the crap out of other players too. I don't want to hear a physical league. I watched a physical NBA in the 80s and the 90s, the early 2000s. This is different, folks. It is. It's different.
Kathy Engelbert has shepherded the WNBA through expansion chatter, record-shattering merch runs, and broadcast deals fattened largely by Caitlin Clark's viral gravitational pull. Yet her posture on officiating has not improved whatsoever. When pressed in June about swallowed whistles and star player safety, Engelbert produced tidy spreadsheets proving foul count sat within historical norms. An answer that might soothe accountants but sounds like corporate static to fans who can replay Marina Mabrey's blindside shoulder on endless loop.
She was livid. She told the referee to grow up. I put on Twitter, I said, she just told the referee to grow up, and just, it wasn't 2 minutes later, Scott Agnes, who of course was at the game, confirmed. That's exactly what Caitlin Clark said to the ref. She told the ref to grow up.
Clark's groin grab detonated that facade. The injury isn't just a fever problem, it's a league-wide alarm bell, because All-Star Weekend, slated for Indianapolis in 48 hours, suddenly feels like a concert missing its headliner. Hotel blocks are sold out, tickets on the secondary market have hit triple digits, and sponsors have printed entire marketing rollouts around Clark's three-point contest debut and captaincy of Team W. The question is no longer whether officials miss calls, it's whether leadership grasps that each non-call now risks bleeding revenue at the precise moment women's basketball is poised for a generational lift.
But also, she's upset. I'm sure she knows how many people this is a disaster. People are going to travel into the All-Star game that entire weekend, made vacations around it. Massive revenue generator for the All-Star game. Guys, I have a feeling that you're about to see tickets. People are going to try to get out of going. People are going to try to get out of going to this game now.
If raw data ever screamed, it's doing so now. Indiana broadcast average increase of around 50% viewership spike over baseline WNBA numbers when Caitlin Clark plays. Ticket resale sites confirm what street scalpers already know. A seat that cost $42 before Clark's arrival could go for nearly $200 the second she lands in town. Wilson's limited edition Caitlin Clark ball sold out in 8 minutes, while her Kobe shoes sold out in 30 seconds. Every one of those revenue geysers depends on Caitlin in uniform, not in warm-ups, and certainly not in street clothes. If she's forced to sit, it's not good for business of any kind.
Adam Silver, just take over the league. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying you're the better option because you're arguably the worst commissioner in sports. You were. Not anymore. Wow. We found somebody worse than Adam Silver and Roger Goodell.
If raw data ever screamed, it's doing so now. Indiana broadcasts note an increase of around 50% viewership spike over other baseline WNBA numbers when Caitlin Clark plays. Ticket resale sites confirm what street scalpers already know. A seat that cost $42 before Clark's arrival could go for nearly $200 the second she lands in town. Wilson's limited edition Caitlin Clark ball sold out in 8 minutes, while her Kobe shoes sold out in 30 seconds. Every one of those revenue geysers depends on Caitlin in uniform, not in warm-ups, and certainly not in street clothes. If she's forced to sit, it's not good for business of any kind. The Fever marched into enemy territory and rewrote the narrative, proving that smart pace, an unselfish ball movement, and refusal to cower can neutralize brute force. Yet their triumph doubled as indictment. The very aggression they overcame had finally exacted a toll on their leader's body, and whether that toll turns into long-term debt depends on decisions made far above the locker room. Caitlin Clark's triple record night should have ended with a smile-filled walk-off, not a tear-stained exit. If the league wants to keep basking in the glow of packed arenas and historic ratings, it must shield the source of that glow with every resource at its disposal. Full-time officials, stiffer penalties, and an unambiguous mandate that superstar safety is non-negotiable. Otherwise, the WNBA risks learning the harshest economic lesson of all: neglect the golden goose, and the eggs stop coming. Comment Protect CC if you believe the league must act now, then share your own fixes below. Hit like, pound subscribe, ring that bell, and stay tuned. We'll track every development in this saga because history shows no sign of slowing down, and neither do we. Thanks for watching, Fever Nation. Keep the fire lit, and may the whistles finally find their voice.